Hi, welcome back. We're here again with another fabulous hair play doll, and I could not love this next doll any more than I already do. We are going to be taking a look into Fashion Queen Barbie.
Barbie, you're beautiful, here's what we mean. Now you've become our fashion queen.
We're also going to learn how to restore her high fashion wigs.
Why don't you try on that lovely wig?
If you have a dirty, musty, nasty Fashion Queen wig, you're not alone. There's a lot that are like that, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can make your Fashion Queen doll wigs look fabulous.
A wig!
If you like fabulous content, hi, my name is Dakota. I'm a doll artist and, well, just in general, an artist, and I do a lot of toy restoration on this channel. If something like that interests you, why not hit subscribe? Why not leave a comment? And why not like the video? It helps me out in the end. And without further much ado, I hope you enjoyed this video on the Fashion Queen Barbie doll. From her 1959 introduction, Barbie was a smash hit with children. They fell in love with her, her style, her fashions, and another thing they fell in love with was her hair. Unfortunately, Barbie's hair was not the most user-friendly. In fact, those original ponytail dolls, their hair is still not the most user-friendly. And it does take a lot of practice to get that coif just right. And while the bubble cut doll's hair is much more easier to manage, it's just a little bit too short to be doing any extravagant styles. But as you can imagine, to some children, that simply didn't matter. However, Mattel, always trying to be one step ahead, did take hair play into consideration. Mattel, always being true to Barbie's fashion model status, made sure that she was always ahead of the game whenever it came to her style and her fashion. And by 1963, she had a whole slew of new accessories, from a boyfriend to a car to a brand new dream house and even a new best friend, Midge. And Barbie, being a famous teenage fashion model doll at the time, always had to stay ahead of the game when it came to fashion. And something that's always played a very important part in fashion is hair, as hair can be just as important as fashion when it comes to self-expression. And one fashion accessory that you couldn't go without in the 1960s was a fashion wig. In most cases, it was just the epitome of glamour. With wigs, you are able to change your whole look, and in my opinion, I think wigs should make a comeback, but I digress. Mattel decided to incorporate this fashion trend into their Barbie line, debuting with their new doll, Fashion Queen Barbie. She shared the same body as Midge and Barbie, so she could wear all of Barbie's fabulous costumes. But just by the name alone, you could tell that this Barbie was not the same as your regular Barbie. This Barbie had molded hair to go along with her 3 high fashion wigs: Bubble on Bubble, Flip, and Page Boy, and all 3 were in 3 different colors: blonde, brunette, and Titian. This Barbie doll was almost like having 3 different Barbie dolls in one, which would explain her expensive price at $6. To put that in perspective, a regular bubble cut Barbie and ponytail Barbie were about $1.92 at the time. However, that $6 price tag does vary from where you purchased her, as I can find some Sears catalogs that list her at the price of $3.96, which is much better if you ask me. She was such a popular doll with children, and I can see why, because I wanted to play with her as a child myself. The concept was so popular that the doll was sold just as a head herself alongside her wigs, and that accessory set was called Barbie and Her Wig Wardrobe. To play with this set, you would take off your Barbie doll's head and put on the Fashion Queen Barbie doll head that came with the wig wardrobe accessory set. And then you could start playing with all of her fun and fabulous wigs. That concept too was so popular that they even made one for Midge, and those 2 heads were also sold in a wig accessory pack for the Color Magic Barbie line as well. And I do have some of those wigs, but I would like to do a series 2 of Barbie hair play as well. So maybe if you request it enough, and maybe if I can find all the pieces that go with it, I will also make a video on that as well. So let me know down below in the comments if you would also like to see that in the future. Fashion Queen Barbie remains to be a true product of her time, a testament of fashion, quality, and of course, the value of hair play. So let's talk about the Fashion Queen Barbie herself. So when this doll originally came out in 1963, the prototype shown a blonde, painted-haired Barbie with 3 different high fashion wigs. The doll that came out is brunette, so we get to see Barbie's true hair color. She is a brunette, and it has a nice vinyl wrap around it and such. I mean, it's so freaking cute, right? And you might be wondering, why the costume? And let's think about what came out around this time. Cleopatra. Look at the turban and look at the style of swimsuit it is. It is so Cleopatra. It's so Elizabeth Taylor, and everything around that movie. That movie had such a big presence on fashion, on makeup, on glamour. There was makeup that had the Cleopatra look. There were even like little Cleopatra dolls that were, I think, lipstick or eyeshadow. The movie was so influential at that time in the 1960s. As you can see, the doll just like perfectly resembles just what glamour and high fashion is. The doll's face is very similar to her regular typical face, but it is a little bit more exaggerated, a little bit more harsh in the facial features, if you ask me. She does resemble a resting bitch face. Other than the 1959 doll, I think best represents the resting bitch face.
Naughty, naughty girl.
She's so cute. This one's one of the cuter ones. They do get a little bit meaner looking, but I like that for them because they are kind of snotty. When this doll came out, she would have been twice as much as the regular Barbie because she came with high fashion wigs. Now these wigs you could take on and take off, and you could mix and match them as much as you could her fashions. So they were made to go with her many different fashions for many different occasions and for many different styles. She was the first hair play Barbie, but it's not the only time that we got to see a Fashion Queen Barbie from Mattel. Here is the reproduction of Fashion Queen. This was done for Barbie's 50th anniversary. When those dolls came out, they came out in sort of waves. I was really hoping that they would continue this line of reproduction dolls because they were so well done. Bill Greening did an amazing job. I believe he's the one behind the Barbie, my favorite Barbie collection. And I mean, everything was just done so fabulous for that 50th anniversary. And for a child like me, a budding collector at the time, I could not afford the real examples. So spending $40 to be able to get a piece of Barbie history with a separate costume in most cases, a doll stand, flashcards, the booklets, the whole shebang, that was so big and so important to my early Barbie collection. And even though I've had like many of the originals, this one I still hold near and dear to my heart because she is something that I would have wanted so terribly bad as a child, and something that I would have cherished then as well. So if we look at her, she looks just very much like an original 1963 Fashion Queen doll. She even has the unique head mold and the blue band. Now, is she like completely accurate? Not really, but I think that she's done extremely well. If you're looking for a more soft expression out of a fashion queen, the reproduction is probably the one for you. I don't know if she has metal earrings. She does. Probably different vinyl, different metal to go along with it. The swimsuit is done really well. It's just a really good reproduction. You even got the accurate zipper in the back. And this is when they changed Barbie's body to give her the more accurate fingers. It was around this era. The only unfortunate bit was she does kind of have more hollow legs. And if you were to hold the 1962, my favorite Barbie, compared to this one in the swirl, these dolls, the swirl and the Fashion Queen Barbie, are a lot lighter in comparison because their legs are made of a more hollow material. They're not made of the poured vinyl that the 1962 reproduction doll is. They also have like this new shoe mold that more resembles the 1959 doll shoe mold. There's just no hole at the bottom. Because the 1959 for the 50th reproduction, it has a different and unique shoe mold that is like this one and not like the classic Barbie mules of that time. So another thing, if you are looking at this reproduction Fashion Queen instead of an original, are going to be the wigs. So the wigs are made of the new Saran, and they are much softer, much fluffier, and we can try them on her. Now, the one thing about them being of the new fluffy Saran is that they are not exactly the easiest to maintain a curl, because Saran is very heavy and it does like to fall. And the wigs, they might not be my favorite, but you totally get the feel for them. And they're a little bit longer than what they would have been originally. And we'll do a comparison between this doll and the original doll in just a minute, but just so that you can see the wigs. So that is the Titian side part. And now we'll get to the bubble. And I think the bubble looks probably the nicest on her. Very cute. And then we'll get into the page boy. The page boy also looks pretty decent on her. Very popular style of the time. But those are the wigs. Now let's take a look at an original example, and we'll do comparison between reproduction and original. Here she is next to an original, and we'll just do like a little 360 of these dolls, and you can see that they got the swimsuit and the turban pretty correct. But if you were to pick them up, obviously the difference is clear as to which one is vintage and which one is reproduction. This one being the repro and this one being the original. But as you can see, this one's face is just a little bit more severe. She has a little bit more of a resting face, and this one is like a nicer example too. So the fabric between the two, as you can see, the repro is still very nice, but they're using different threads. You see, 60 years ago, they were using like real metal. So you can feel it as you run your finger across it, compared to this one where it's mylar. This one is just like straight up metal. Ironically, these dolls were the most expensive Barbie at the time that they offered. And ironically, they are the least expensive vintage Barbie that you can find nowadays, with bubble cuts and ponytails reaching higher prices than what the Fashion Queen dolls fetch for. However, the times are kind of changing, and Fashion Queen Barbie is starting to pique more interest into newer collectors. The prices for her are going up. They're on the increase. So what used to run you like a $14 Fashion Queen is now running you to be about $40. Right now is the time to buy Fashion Queen before she becomes even more expensive, in my opinion. Now is the time to buy if you are interested in Fashion Queen Barbie. Very often you will find the hair looking like this, where it's not in terrible shape, but they need to have a little bit of a refresh, if you know what I mean, because they are a little dry. They're a little bit wiry. Now we can't change the composition of the hair completely, as this is old Saran. Old Saran is different than newer Saran, as you can see. It just is a little bit more wiry, and that was the Saran of the era. And dolls like Madame Alexander, dolls from American Character, and Ideal were using this Saran hair as well. And you can find it on like their Miss Revlon, Sissy, Sissette. You can find it on the American Character Tony doll. And you can also find it on Miss Revlon. So in this video, I would like to go and show you all how to restyle your Fashion Queen doll wigs.
Shall we begin?
As I have mentioned, you will find the wigs usually to be something like this. Now sometimes they're even melted onto their little wig stand. So keep that in mind. These wigs do come off. You are still able to get them off. You might need some hot water if they are stuck. But this is what came with the doll. And they made Barbie cases at the time where these could be inserted into the case, so that way you could have your dolls displayed with their wigs. So you will find the wigs to be looking like this usually, where they are used. You know, they're not terrible, they're not in bad shape, they're just not styled, just very similar to the Barbies that we have today. This saran is old, it is wiry, and it is dry. And sometimes you can get away with washing it and styling it and not having to do a curl. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how I wash the wigs. I'm going to show you how I boil wash the wigs. I'm going to show you how I curl the wigs and then style the wigs ultimately for their finished look. This is how I do it. You could do it differently. There's probably several people out there that do it differently, but this is how I do it. So if you like my results, follow along.
No!
So the first thing that I'm going to do is start off with a hot water soak. So I'm gonna leave them in some hot water. So now that I have some hot water, I'm going to dunk the hair in there and get them submerged. I'm gonna take some dish soap, just run it on top. I'm gonna make sure that I go into the scalp itself, inside the wig cap, and scrub, because I've had some cases where there could be some dried up mold or residue in there, and it's always best whenever you are washing them to try to get that out of there if possible, especially before putting on your Barbie. I got one, and you can do the same thing with this wig. Now these wigs are not that dirty. They could just use some mild work. And one more. The bubble on bubble, I think is what they called this wig. And this one's going to be the easiest to style. And something that I found very seldom is like they'll have the start of green. You can see that. And this isn't my only bubble cut wig. I've got several that have that. And that could be from the metal from the needle that was used to sew on this hair. Probably had a little bit of it pop off. And it's stuck in there. Or maybe one of her earrings got caught up in there. You never know. You can only speculate whenever it comes to these vintage things, but you see like how I thought that they weren't that dirty? Look at that water. That water is so murky now. So dirty. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. And we're going to wash them off with some good clean water. So now what we're going to do is we're gonna take some conditioner. You can use whatever conditioner you like, and rub it all on top. And this old saran will love you for it. Trust and believe. And I'm just gonna let that soak for a bit. And just rub it all on top. Get the ends. The ends for this wig is just dying for this conditioner. You could just feel it. It's so wiry and coarse. But the saran is like magic, and you'll see exactly why doll companies at this time were using this saran. And as I've mentioned, the saran is a lot different from the saran that we're used to today. This saran curls instantly, just about, especially whenever you add heat. But when we get to styling, I'll show you what I mean and how it interacts differently than new saran. It's also not as heavy. It's a little bit lighter than new saran. And this will work with any Barbie wig. This will work with the Hair Fair wigs. This will work with the Color Magic wigs. Any wig, any hair pieces too. If you've got some Barbie hair pieces that really need the attention of a stylist, this will help. All right, there we go. It is all evenly saturated on the doll's wig. Now I'm gonna take the doll, I'm gonna take the bubble cut wig, and I'm gonna try to find where they had it. I think this is supposed to be the front. Sometimes you can find it easy. And with a bubble cut, I'm gonna do exactly what I do with my bubble cuts. I'm gonna try to follow the hair. You wanna follow the hair wherever the hair is going, because that is how you're going to style these wigs. Just follow the hair, because the hair, especially on a bubble cut, knows exactly where it wants to land. And that is where you're gonna put it. See, even when it's brushed like this, you can see that it is making all the improvement, and we've not even given it a boil wash yet. That is another secret with my bubbles. I love to give them boil washes. And I find it so important, especially whenever it comes to their restoration. You also don't need to have a Fashion Queen Barbie. If you'd rather just brush it out yourself, you can hold it onto your finger and just make sure that everything in the thatch is going the way that you want it to. There we go. And this one is probably the hardest to style for most, because it is generally not a style that we're used to anymore, this page boy style. And when you brush it out like so, like it gets really crazy. But what I'm going to do, even with the hair conditioner still on them, is I'm going to give them a little soak in boiling water. And you might ask me why I'm doing that, because before I curl any doll hair, I like to start in with a boil wash. I'm gonna get out my glass measuring cup and pour in some boiling water. It should be enough. And I'm just going to dip the hair in just like the way it is. And you can use your rat tail comb. And this is gonna be for like the longer hair. The bubble cut really doesn't need it. What I'm gonna do actually with the bubble cut, because she basically is already done, is I'm going to just pour this right on top. Again, follow the direction of where the hair is going for best results. And there we are. And just brush through. Again, keep in mind where the hair is headed. Just brush. Okay, and when you think you're done, you're not, because I'm gonna take some diluted gel. This is like 90% water, 10% got to be glued hair gel, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top. And this makes all the hair really shiny. There we go. Boom. You have a beautiful bubble cut wig, and whenever it is completely dry, you could brush that out and it would be really pretty. Now, as for the other wigs that we left sitting, you can go ahead and grab them out. Okay. They're gonna be really hot, so be careful. And I'm just gonna stick this onto her head like so. And see like how much more relaxed it is now. It is not just a Brillo pad with the business of being mean. Like this hair is something that we could actually work with. There you go. And this is how I like to prep them to get them ready for curling, because we are going to curl these wigs and I'm going to show you how to style them.
It's new. Just look what you can do with Barbie's Color and Curl. You can take this special fashion wig and change the color like magic. You can see it happen right before your eyes. A dazzling new hair color for Barbie. Later, you can change the color back. The secret is in the wig itself. Every time you dip it in the color magic solution, it changes color. There's nothing to hurt you and no dyes to spill or stain. You can even set it, dry it under the hair dryer that really works, and style it any way you want. Color and Curl comes with 4 different fashion wigs. Each one changes to another color and back over and over again. Get Barbie's new Color and Curl with everything to create dazzling hairstyles for your Barbie and Midge. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
So let's start doing some work on Barbie's wigs. So the things that you're going to need and the things that I'm using are going to be perm papers. So I've got some perm papers right here that I've made out of cut up paper towel that I've taken and cut up. And we're also going to use the curlers that I use in like all of my videos basically, except I just took the foam part off of the roller itself. So the foam bit just comes right off, and this is what we're going to use. If you don't have this, you could use a pipe cleaner as a substitution, but I need these because I need something that is really tight that I can use for a curl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just separate from bangs, because the bangs is not where the problem is, where this page boy hairstyle comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it as best we can, that is, and we're going to start curling. So I'm taking it out of this top portion section right here. I'm going to take a perm paper. Because it's a wig and it's shorter hair, I'm just going to fold it in half like so. And I'm going to pull all the way down. The smaller bits of hair will come out, and that is fine. You want to focus on the curls. So roll under when we're doing a page boy. And there you go. And there's our first curl. So now we're going to go under that. And we're going to curl again. And you're going to curl under. You might even want to work with this hair right here, which frame the face. You can fold like so, wrap under, pull down, and there you are. You are just going to try to curl it as best as you can, get the bangs out, because again, the bangs aren't really the problem of what we're going to focus on. We're just going to focus on the larger bit of hair that needs some fixing. I'm going to go around, and we're going to frame the face a little bit with that one, and with this longer bit of hair right here. We are going to curl under. Go. And the reason why we boil washed it before is just so that the hair would relax, because we want the hair to be very relaxed whenever we put a curl into it. So we're going to come to the other end. Grab a large tuft of hair right up top, and you'll be able to tell where you want your hair to be curled. You want to go along with the hair itself. Let the hair speak to you. Now this wig might cause you some problems because the hair is very layered. So you're gonna have like little bits along with your long bits, but don't worry. We're just gonna put some more curl in there. And the wig's gonna love you for it. With the page boy, we're just gonna curl under like so. Now the back should be the longest bit of hair on this page boy wig. There is a lot of hair to work with whenever it comes to the page boy wig. Okay, so now we're to the bottom of the wig. And there we go. When you're done curling, this is what your page boy wig will probably look like. And when you're done putting the curlers in, you can go in with your boiling hot water. And saturate all the curls. You can take your comb and just start to form around some of the curlers. Brush the bangs a bit. And another thing you can do, you can take the diluted gel, run it along the curlers, which will give it a cooling effect, but it will also help whenever it comes to styling in a bit. With new saran, you want to leave the curlers in as long as you can, so that way the hair forms around the curler. But with old saran, it takes to curls like magic. You don't have to wait very long for it to take the curl. I'm gonna wait for the hair to get cooler, and then we can take out the curlers, and then we can start forming this page boy hairstyle. So as I mentioned, old saran takes to curl really well. So we can take it out of the curler, and you can see what I mean by it is curly, which is like magic. New saran could never. So we're gonna do that again. Just take it out. that. And the reason why I want to style it while it's still wet is because when it's dry, it's going to be fixated how you dried it. So I want to make sure that when the hair is drying, it is actually in the form I want it to be in. There we go. See, look, the difference. You know, old Saran might not be the softest hair by any means, but it's very easy to work with and it's very sturdy for the most part anyway. And there we are. Okay, so this is what your doll's hair is gonna look like. Right? That's not a page boy. So what we're going to do is brush it all down. So take your doll, take the hair, start brushing the hair down. Take it below your finger. You want to curl under, like so. And if you have any dead ends, you could probably go and cut them if you felt like it. There you go. See, this is going to be the desired effect when you're all done, right? Really cute. Take the other end. The hair, whoop, wig is shifted. Come on, girl. And we're gonna go in. And take the hair, form it under. There you go. And now we're gonna go to the back. Okay. Take that hair, curl under. The ends of this hair are just wild. In some cases, they're just really like, they almost look pubic. You know what I mean? It's just not very pretty. But just take it and curl it under. There you go. And hide it right there in the hair itself. And there we go. Take the bangs, fidget with the bangs a bit. It's giving Marie Osmond, you know what I mean? It is so giving the Osmonds. So say for instance that your page boy is not giving you exactly what you want. You can make one of these little plastic hair wraps, and you can do this out of a Ziploc bag and any iron. You can iron it to size if you want. And if you're interested in how to do that, I believe it is my Marlowe Flip Twist and Turn video where I teach you all how to make one. But you could just place that on top, like so. And then take your hair and form it around it. And then what you can do also is take your boiling water and pour right on top, because your hair is set. The curls are set. There we go. Just do a better job at blending. And there. And there's your page boy. So when this hair dries, just know it's going to be fabulous. But now it's time to work on the Tish and Flip.
Oh, my favorite.
So let's get started. We're just going to brush around the doll's hair. That way you can see exactly what's going on. You want the wig to kind of talk to you as far as what you're going to do with the hair itself. So like this whole top part, probably from about above the ear to the part line, we're just going to separate. And you will need a perm paper, and you can fold it in half if you want. The side part does not really have a whole lot of hair rooted into it. It's pretty sparse and everything is like meticulous in its place. So you're gonna have to be a little bit easygoing when it comes to this hair. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna do it like this and not fold it. Pull it down. There we go. And with the flip, you want to curl up and make sure you have all your hair where you want it to be. There we go. Curled up. Beautiful. And for the bottom layer, you're going to do the same. Brush down. Take a perm paper, fold under, pull down, and curl up. Beautiful. When working on these doll wigs, you want to be careful about the clones. So there are some wig clones out there that I know a lot of people may think that they have a Fashion Queen doll wig, but it turns out being some Barbie clone doll wig. And the hair fiber, it's important to get to know your hair fibers when that happens, because those wigs are made of a poly nylon kind of hair texture, and with hot products such as boiling hot water, that could lead it to ball up and become all melted, and there's no way to revert that when that happens. So you need to know your doll's hair type. Like a genuine Fashion Queen doll will never have nylon hair, will always have this saran hair. So keep that in mind whenever you're working on your doll wigs. Another wig that you don't want to use extreme heat on is the color magic wigs. You don't want to use extreme heat on those wigs, as it might hurt their color changing function. But also on top of that, those wigs have a different hair fiber altogether. It almost feels like a Kanekalon, but I don't think it is. I'm not really quite sure what hair fiber they used for the Color Magic dolls, but it is very brittle hair, so you don't want to use extreme heat on that kind of hair because it could make it look really bad. But again, just try to start to make yourself a little bit more familiar with dolls' hair types. Okay, I'm gonna take this, fold like so, and pull down, and then curl up. And one more to do, right down here. One little flip, we go. Now that the curlers are completely in, it's time for the boil wash. Okay, now that her hair has been boil washed and I put some diluted gel in it, I think we're ready to take out the curlers. Like I said, old saran hair usually has the best bounce back whenever it comes to curlers. Literally, you don't really even have to wait that long for it to be ready to be brushed out. New saran, because it's so heavy, has that issue where if you brush it out, it just falls. Now that her hair has the curlers taken out, it's time to give her a good old-fashioned brush out. So we're just gonna take it by sections. We'll start over here on the big side and take the curl it up like so, brush it out. And there you go, you got your little flip right there. Then we'll take this, brush it up like so. Take the rat tail, pull out. Now we're gonna take this part and we're gonna curl up. There we are. So now we're just gonna combine it all if we can. All right. Okay, so you've got two options here. You can use the same cellophane we used before and do it this way, or you could do what I like to do whenever it comes to this hair. I'm gonna take a rubber band and do this. Go. You might think we're done, but we're not. We're not done. So we're going to take it back to the sink and we're going to put some boiling water on top of that. Just pour right on top. And I know what you're thinking. What's the purpose of this? This is just to make sure that the hair sits exactly the way that we want it to sit. Take your comb and go around. Just try to spread it around, like where you might see little holes. Take your diluted gel and run it all around. And this will help it look really shiny. As well as give it that figure, that hold, that shape that it needs. So now we'll put the wigs outside and we'll let them dry in the sun. And then when they're completely dry, we'll give them their final brush out. Now all of her wigs are done. It's time to finally try them on. So we're gonna take off her beautiful turban. And let's see, the first one that we'll try on will be the bubble on bubble. Here we go. Just try it on. And you can take a comb and just fluff it out whenever you have it on her. It is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And there she is, as a bubble cut. Look Look at that. Isn't that precious? Imagine the outfits that you could pair this with. Like, honestly, this is why the doll was 3 times as much as a regular Barbie, because you had more options. And say, for instance, you didn't want to buy a whole Barbie to go with, you could buy the wig wardrobe pack, which just would have included a Fashion Queen Barbie head and 3 miscellaneous high fashion wigs. Now, I have found examples where they are reusing the Miss Barbie fashion wigs, and those are just recolored versions of the standard Fashion Queen. So instead of blonde bubble cut, you'll get a Titian, and instead of a brunette page boy, you'll get blonde, and instead of the red-headed side part, you'll get a brunette side part. So again, many different variations were available at this time. They were really selling these dolls like hotcakes, let me tell you. And they must have been really popular, because after the Fashion Queen and after the wig wardrobe, they always incorporated Barbie and hair play, like with Hair Fair Barbie, which we'll do a look at in a future video. So I hope you're looking forward to that as well. And also Hair Happenings Barbie, which is very similar to a Hair Fair Barbie. And then eventually it all comes down to Pretty Changes Barbie, who we also will be looking at in a future video. We're gonna put on a different wig. So let's see, let's put on the brunette page boy. Just take it off of the wig form. And there we are. Here is the page boy on Barbie. It's super cute, super fun. We can now run a comb through it, I'm sure. There you go, just fluff it out a bit. There we are. And this wig is so shiny and it looks almost brand new. Just look how shiny and pretty that wig has come out. Now there are a couple loose hairs. You're gonna get that with this kind of hair fiber. But wow, isn't she pretty? I mean, what would you put these Barbies in? Like, I ask you, any fashion from any decade, you let me know what you would use these wigs for. I would use this wig for her more casual outfits, like say for instance, maybe she's having a picnic or something. Like, I would use this look for that outfit. I think it's so cute. Let's try on the Titian side part flip. And here is the Titian hairdo. I'll give that a little 360 as well. It's super cute. She's giving Ginger from Gilligan's Island, and I'm here for it. I think it is absolutely so cute, and she looks so stunning. And I mean, explain to me how the fashion wigs from back then look so nice on Barbie today, but Mattel can't really seem to get it together whenever it comes to Barbie wigs, at least for me personally. I think these wigs look pretty good, and I think they look pretty fabulous. But again, tell me what fashion you would put with these wigs. I'm very curious. And tell me what you think of the Fashion Queen Barbie also. Maybe you knew somebody who had her. I've spoken to several people, and she's so iconic that people remember this doll and they remember her so fondly, and they talk about how cool she is. And it is very true. She is very cool. I even remember there being a Miss Barbie in my aunt's Barbie collection whenever I would play with it as a child growing up. Granted, the head fell off, but I thought that it was so cool that she too had wigs, and there was other wigs in the Barbie case that she had, and I could try them on my Barbies, and they looked so cute. So it's really fun to see these Barbies and see them for how they are, and to see them look all new again. It just really brings them back to life. And I hope you all find this video interesting, and I hope you all have good memories connected to these beautiful dolls, because truth be told, they are some of my absolute favorites. Wasn't that fabulous or what?
No.
No.
Wow, that was emphatic.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you really liked this video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, and please share. It helps out with the algorithm and it helps me make more content like this.
Who knew this job would be so demanding?
Please, I'm exhausted.
I cannot say thank you enough to everybody who is so excited for this dedication week. I hope that you all enjoy every single one of these videos that I'm putting out for you. They're a lot of hard work and any love is much appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this was entertaining and helpful for you. If you like Fashion Queen Barbie, let me know down below. If you remember her, if she's on your wish list, or if any of these helpful tips will help you out. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, doll friends. Remember to enjoy yourself, to be kind to others, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Bye-bye.
Barbie, you're beautiful. Here's what we mean. Now you've become our fashion queen.
Here's Mattel's new Fashion Queen Barbie doll. And here's what's new. She comes with 3 beautiful wigs. Now you can change her hair color and style as easily as you can change her costume. The wigs are in the latest styles. Bubble on bubble, flip, and page boy in lots of different colors. One is perfect for a casual outfit, the most formal occasions, or the most carefree Barbie fashions. You'll love mixing and matching Barbie's costumes with her new fashion wigs. Look for the genuine Mattel Fashion Queen Barbie tag. Now there's the new Fashion Queen Barbie and the famous familiar Barbie. The Barbie costumes you buy fit them both. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.